Hi, thanks for watching this video series. This is a collection of videos showcasing how I made this workshop. This is not a how to build anything, but rather how I built this particular workshop. I'm not a professional, I made a lot of mistakes, and I didn't do everything as safely as I probably should have. If you're looking to do something like this yourself, I encourage you to try it, but please only do so at your own risk. If you like this video, please take a look at all the videos I have for this project. Thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe.
Now, when I started this project out, the first thing that I needed to do was actually apply for a permit. And you can see I have a image of the actual layout of my yard along with the proposed building site in this photo. I'm not going to go through all of the steps that I had to take because it's going to be different everywhere. Everyone's going to have a little bit of a different process. Here's the area where I built my workshop. The area is not completely level, but it's kind of close to it. I tried to level things out with the largest front-end loader slash backhoe that I could rent from Home Depot. The idea was to try to get things as close to level as possible, building this with concrete blocks, so the walls will actually be partially underground, and the yard, as you can see on the right hand side of the screen, kind of is a little bit higher than on the left hand side. That's really not going to be a problem. My doors are going to be fully on the left hand side and in the front, so I'm really not that worried about the left hand side being too high, as far as the ground is concerned, and the left hand side being lower, or basically at grade. That's really nothing that I'm not concerned with. You could see that after some time of fighting with the machinery and moving big rocks by hand, I was able to at least rip up the top layer and get things somewhat leveled down. You could see as we change over here, it's getting a little bit better. However, the next big hurdle is I have to dig out trenches in a box shape in order to put in my footers. So the footers are actually where the foundation starts. And where I live in the Northeast, you have to have them pretty far down. This is a trench for electrical that I just kind of started. I wanted to lay that out just so that it was ready to go. And so I kind of knew where I wanted it to be. But the trenching itself with this machine was really difficult. It really didn't have the reach that I needed, even though it said it could reach further down than it could. I didn't have to go as far down as its full depth. I think it had like a 6 or 8 foot depth that it could go down, but it just didn't have the power. So you can see this is about where I ended up with leveling with this Home Depot machine. It's not perfect, doesn't have to be perfect, but it's kind of close. You could also see there's a stump back here. Really wasn't that worried about the stump, to be honest with you, because the building was going to be behind the stump. So the stump was going to be in front of the building. I was trying to dig that out, but it didn't really work out that well. So from here forward, I tried to start trenching with this machine, and it really did not work. So I reached out to a friend, and he had someone who did this professionally, and he suggested renting a larger machine.
Okay, so I rented a slightly larger machine. You could say it's just slightly larger. And I'm going to get a professional out here to do this part. I think that bucket is wide enough that it could do the full width of the trench that I want to dig with just one scoopful. So I think this is going to be perfect for what I need.
So here's the professional at work. He didn't really want to be on camera, so I had to respect his privacy. But as you can see, he's much better at working with this larger machine than I am. Here's the end result. Nice big open areas for me to work in, and for me to start working with working on the next stage, which is to try to make some forms for my footers that are going to have to be poured. So right here you could see me working with 2x4s, which I learned later was a terrible, terrible idea. I used 2x4s and I used this special plastic that has markings on it and will actually hold back concrete pretty well. However, the same things that I did for my 2x4s here are the same things that I did with the larger pressure treated wood that I ended up working with later. I think it was pieces of 2x6 or 2x8. I think it was 2x6. But this basically just did not work. It would not hold up to anything. Here's the plastic that I was speaking about. It actually lays over your wooden forms and then you staple it in. I got some corner pieces and then some straight run pieces. And then you use a little bit of tape in between to make sure that they're kind of sealed up. It works pretty well, this plastic. However, the wooden frames that I used just would not hold up to the torture of putting them in place and trying to rearrange them and try to get them just right. They kept, bending and flexing a bit too much. And eventually, even though I sat down and I made all four corners as nicely as I could, eventually this all just kind of fell apart on me. And I had to deal with the reality that I had to start this all over. I was going through these videos as I was setting up my voiceovers, and I just wanted to reiterate how much time I wasted on trying to make these forms with 2x4s. And you could see how they had too much bow to them, too much give to them. I was really trying to save some money in wood, and at a certain point you have to say, do you want to save money and have to do it 2 or 3 times, or do you want to use the right product for what you're doing? And really that's what this came down to, was I was just being stubborn and not using the right product. But I did learn. I learned that, it's what's your time worth? Is your time worth the savings, or do you want to just do it right? So this is all of my hard work just torn apart. Unfortunately, there wasn't really much I could salvage. I did save some short pieces to use as wedges and to help hold things up. Here is the new setup with actually using, like I said, I believe these were 2x6s, and they worked so much better. Had nice long pieces, so I wasn't coupling big pieces together. Used my plastic the same way, and once I got everything in place, I had to add rebar in as well. Once the plastic was in place, they called for 2 lines of rebar just to help with flexibility. Usually with concrete, you have rebar with the concrete. And I used a couple of standoffs to actually use more than a couple. I used quite a number of standoffs to hold the rebar up off the bottom of the plastic. And this is what the standoff pieces look like. You can see it's got channels for 2 pieces of rebar, and those sit on the bottom, and they're made just right for the size that I needed. When everything was all said and done, it looked nice and neat. I had a little piece of wood going down the middle so I could put some uprights in place. I had some issues with that, but more importantly, all of this was good enough to pass my footer inspection. That's some plastic laid down just to keep the water out. There wasn't much tree cover down in that corner, but I passed my first inspection, which was my footers were deep enough and they were strong enough for what I needed. I couldn't do earthen bound footers, which I was really hoping for, which I think you can do in some areas of the country. But with this plastic bound one, it was satisfactory for the town inspector. So that's the end of this video. In the next few videos, I'll show you all of the work in putting everything together with getting the footers poured and getting prepped for the next spot of building the footers up higher and bringing them up to the up to the base level of the middle of where they will be with the middle of the floor. Okay, thanks very much for watching. Please take a look at the other videos in this series. And I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it's somewhat educational. I hope you can learn a little bit from all of my mistakes. And, there's nothing wrong with trying a project like this on your own. Um, you learn a lot, and to be honest with you, you'll save a lot of money. Okay, thanks for watching.